Oh, what a year. What a fucking year. It's about that time for all the game journalist channels to be putting out their Game of the Year video where they talk about all the games they played and all that good stuff. So, fuck it, here's mine. If this is your first time checking out my channel, then hello, my name is Delta and I make review videos. At the end of my reviews, I normally place the games in a tier list so I can go over them at the end of the year, kind of like a final send-off before I gear up for my 2021 videos. This year, I reviewed 14 games since I started my channel in March. 15 if you count the Final Fantasy Remake demo. And today, I plan to revisit these verdicts, maybe add a little more context where I couldn't in the videos, and talk about some other games I played but didn't review. This video might come off a bit rambly, it's freeform, and honestly, it could probably be listened to like a podcast. There will be some game footage on screen. I don't know what game I'm putting up, I don't know. It could be anything, I don't know, fucking knack or something. I don't know, but this game footage has nothing to do with what I'm saying, so it's not really important. So you really can just pop some headphones in and just listen to me rant or ramble. So, yeah, my worst game of 2020. People who've been rocking with me since my channel's inception already know my worst game and the only game I touched this year that earned itself a Dookie Sauce rating is In Her Footsteps by Yarn Spinner. This video is my most viewed and it also has the most interaction out of my entire channel. In Her Footsteps was a short story about mending a broken heart from the award-nominated creators of Causeway, No Response, and Hellmouth Halls. I ripped that straight from the Yarn Spinner website. If these guys are award-nominated, then I honestly might have to check out their other stuff because this game was not it. While rewatching my video, I can admit that I was a bit mean at some of my criticisms. It's not really what you say, it's how you say it, and I could have definitely got my point across without being as heavy-handed. But In Her Footsteps was just extremely bland, and the storytelling was a bit too subtle for my liking. I have to keep asking myself, am I just missing something when it comes to people and how they connect with media? Because when I first made this video, I was shit on by so many randoms because apparently to them, this game is a masterpiece. One review said, this was so simple, but at the same time so sweet and heartfelt and truly beautiful. And did we play the same game? It's obvious that this game is trying to say something, but I just couldn't figure out what it was. To me, it's games like these that people will be referring to when they say something is pandering, and I guess it worked. I mean, look at this other comment. It's an amazing game with a beautiful story and cute graphics. Where? Every time I bring up RPG Maker in my videos, I get a glare from the community like I'm not a part of it. People are so scared to criticize things they like, so let me be the first. I love RPG Maker. I make games in it. Hell, I'm working on a game in it right now. But what I don't like is how our community functions. The RPG Maker community, in my experience, can be split into three categories. Okay, this people who know RPG Maker or is part of the community, they will understand what I mean when I say this. But you know, if you don't know, then just bear with me. Bear with me, okay? Bear with me. The RPG Maker community, in my experience, can be split into three categories. First off, the monarchy. Think people like Akashix, Echo 607, Himeworks, Mog Hunter, Driftwood Gaming, Visustella even. These people are the backbone of the community. Yanfly? How could I forget about Yanfly? This group is the exception. They're the ones providing people with the tools to push RPG Maker to its limit. The problem with this group, though, is that it's a clique. If you're able to get into this clique, then you're able to get away with a lot of stuff. If you know, you know. I don't plan to call out anyone here because I don't want to stir the beans, but if you know, you know. As shady as some of these people are, without these guys, the RPG Maker community would crumble. Just look at when Yanfly retired because fuckers were stealing his code, which he was providing to the community for free. Once the plugins were behind a paywall, people were scared. RPG Maker is like a very cheap entry-level engine. A lot of people can't afford these plugins now. I call this group the Commonwealth. These are people who are just making games because it's fun. They have a passion for their project. They are willing to learn and push themselves. And if they lean on plugins created by the monarchy, they are very, very appreciative. The problem with this group is that they can't take criticism. They are powered by passion, so if they release a game that they worked really hard on, any ounce of criticism is instantly shrugged off as hating, and they don't make any changes. And then when they release the game and it fails, they're devastated, when all of this could have been avoided if they just listened. Hell, it don't even have to be me. You don't even have to listen to me. Just anybody. I know somebody, man, I'm not calling anybody out here, but I know people personally who have people in their circle who are saying, hey, this is a little bit out of scope. You don't need this. You probably should fix this. And they just don't listen. So, man. And lastly, there's the shadows. These are the people who plagiarize and steal code and refuse to support people for their work. The asset flippers. We all know these people. We all know what they're capable of. And these people are the reason RPG Maker has the stigma it does. Anyway, I was talking to a friend of mine about my rating system, and I told them RPG Maker games have to be rated on a different scale than other games. An RPG Maker 10 is way better than a AAA 10, because the only way to get an RPG Maker 10 is to be exceptional in all areas. Storytelling, game design, art, there's many more, but let's break it down to these three. In AAA games, or even other indie games like Hollow Knight and Undertale, they can get away with just having a fun gimmick or a good story, but RPG Maker games have to have all three. Great storytelling, great game design, and great art, because you're not only in competition with other games, but you're in competition with the RPG Maker stigma. Lockhart Indigo does a lot of things right. It comes extremely close to achieving the RPG Maker 10. So why is it in my bad category? Well, Lockhart Indigo shines in the art department but fumbles quite frequently in the game design and storytelling department. It's buggy, its mechanics are not fun, and its characters are okay, but I mean, that's it, they're just okay. So it's leaning on its presentation, which is definitely its strongest pillar, but the gameplay devolves into trial and error, shitty enemies, and box puzzles, which in my opinion does not make a good game. Now, let's compare it to the other game in the bad category, Lunar Lux. I think my biggest issue with Lunar Lux is how the promo art tricked me. When I saw the promo art, I was like, holy fuck, this art is gorgeous. It's definitely going to translate to a great game. And then I saw the in-game art and I just... Lunar Lux's biggest problem, and really its only problem, is that it's made in RPG Maker. Every issue that I have with the game other than the art bait and switch can really be linked to the engine. RPG Maker is cool, but it's limited, and I admit that the dev tried to go above and beyond with the engine. This review bugged me because I wrote it in March, and even now, putting it in bad tier was a little unfair. So allow me to remedy that right now. Lunar Lux is alright, and has the potential to move to good. We'll just have to wait and see once the full game comes out. Fuck, alright, time for the best tier, mid tier. Spellbreaker, Dungeon Drafters, and Ikenfell all have one thing in common. It was fun at first, but once I set it down, I didn't really want to pick it up again. Out of these three, I had the most fun with Spellbreaker because not only I was able to play with my friends, but it's the only shooter I'm good at. Dungeon Drafters was a demo. It just didn't have enough content in it for me, that's all. I'm sure I would have liked it a lot more as a complete product, but for now, it's just okay. I literally just put out my review of Ikenfell, so I won't really say much here. The game is fun in some spots, but broken everywhere else. It's cute, give it a play and decide for yourself, but for me it's closer to bad than good. But it isn't quite bad enough for me to write it off as bad. You know what I'm saying? I don't have much to say about these games other than what I said in their respective videos. Maybe that's why they're just mid, and honestly, it's the same for the good games too. Everhood, Rose of Starcross, and PE Noir all have one thing in common. It was really fun, but once I set it down, I don't think I'll ever pick it up again, at least in their current states. Everhood and Rose of Starcross are both demos, so who knows, these can probably grip me in their full releases. Especially Everhood, but PE Noir was a finished experience, and I want more of it. I loved its writing and its presentation, and I want more games in its world. Rose of Starcross is interesting because even though I usually hate Metroidvanias, this game gripped me long enough to actually form a nuanced opinion as to why I hate Metroidvanias. Oddly enough, these games are probably in the alright tier, but they just so happen to be closer to good than bad, so I place them in the good game tier. I think their potential to be great is what separates the good games from the alright games. Now, what separates the good games from the big boys? Let's talk about. These are some of the best games I have played this year, and they are all demos except for Hive Time, and I think Ultra Kill is out as well. These games are up here for so many reasons. 80 Aces had charm and its simple design drew me in, even though its gameplay is nothing special. A Space for the Unbound is on its way towards being one of those masterpieces that come out every year. You know what I'm talking about. I'm hoping that its developer is able to capitalize on all its potential present in its short demo. Everything is fantastic. The music, the gameplay, the art, every little detail in the environments of Indonesia makes everything feel fresh. Mage Academy. Remember earlier in the video when I said RPG Maker has a different rating scale than other games? Well, if we were to place Mage Academy on that scale, it would probably be a 9. And honestly, it's an outlier. It doesn't have the best art. It doesn't really have the best storytelling either. And the game design is just a basic RPG. But there's something special about Mage Academy, and it's something that I feel like has been missing in RPG Maker games, and I think it's community. The Discord is always booming with excited fans. The developer's Twitter has constant, consistent updates. I just really hope that this game is able to finish its ambitious production, because if this game comes out and stays true to the potential that I've seen in its presentation and professionalism, then it could be a milestone in RPG Maker history, and I mean that. All in my opinion, of course, okay? Is it Hive Time? I think it's Hive Time. Hive Time is a nice time. It's simple, it's relaxing, it's charming, the writing is quirky and funny, the art style is soft and easy on the eyes, the music is smooth, not overpowering. Hive Time is a nice time. I can recommend it to almost anyone, especially if you're a big fan of those resource management games. I still need to play Ultra Kill. I'm not really a fan of those gritty, testosterone-inducing, bulge-pulsing shooters like Doom. Remember in the Ikenfell video where I said some games seem to be inherently straight? I'm referring to shit like this. Not to say gay people can't enjoy Doom in games like this, but we all know what this game's target demographic is. Come on. Ultra Kill feels really fun though and stylized. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'll review it. I don't know. So now the question is, what's my game of the year? Well, I don't think it's fair to make a claim when there are other games that I played that I didn't cover on the channel. Games like Cyberpunk 2077. Now, I didn't really fall into the hype until 3 days before its release. Every time I saw Cyberpunk, I was like, oh, this looks good, I'll check it out once it releases. And then December 10th came, and yeah, the release was hot fucking garbage. I bought Cyberpunk on PS4 because I thought there's no way in fuck my little GTX 970 was going to be able to run all these robot titties. But man, did I fuck up. Turns out, Cyberpunk runs like ass on consoles, and when I got it on PC, it ran better, but the bugs made it almost unplayable. All of that aside though, I'm about 10 hours in, and when the game works, it's a lot of fun. I love the characters and I love the world, but I think I'm playing the game wrong. I'm not exploring. The world is pretty to look at, but there's nothing that makes me want to explore it. All I found are just the cliche, stop this crime from happening, or kill these thugs for the cops. You know, where's the crazy shit like the KKK and Red Dead 2? If I look into Cyberpunk's circle jerk on social media, apparently this game is chock full of shit like that. But the question I ask is where? This isn't that big of a deal because I'm still having fun with the game, but I feel like the game would be amazing if I was able to lose myself in the world. For me, the game's story missions are carrying it for me, and that's amazing in itself. I play this game almost like it's a linear experience, and I'm having a lot of fun in doing so. If I had to put Cyberpunk on the tier list, it would go on good games. Yakuza Zero. This is my first Yakuza game, and it's pretty damn good. There's something about it though. It doesn't have the best music, characters, gameplay, story, or world, but it's one of those games where you could just pick it up and have a good time with it. I didn't finish it, but I definitely want to at some point. Not bad. Not bad. I won't say much about these next two games because I plan to make videos on them both, but allow me to say that Dr. Pinkcake is one of the best writers I've ever experienced in a video game. Ever. And that is all I'm going to say for now. Play Acting Lessons. It's an adult-rated game. There are vivid sex scenes in it, but it is hands down the best visual novel I have ever played. Acting Lessons, and even though I haven't finished it, the sequel, or the other game, Being a Dick, both land in the big boy tier. Among Us. Among Us is one of those games that is an inspiration to people like me. Inner Sloth is the prime example of slow and steady wins the race. Their game came out June 15th of 2018 but didn't see its success until this year. And the game is fun to play. My little brothers still call me every day asking me to play Among Us with them. Hell, one of them even said that they wanted the Among Us imposter in Smash Ultimate. Kids, its gameplay is simple, and who doesn't like to game with friends? Sometimes simple beats out big budget AAA titles, and I congratulate Inner Sloth because again their success is mind-boggling and inspiring to all indie devs out there, and the game is also fun to boot. Good game. Do I have to talk about this one? Last of Us 2 is not Game of the Year. It's not good in its writing, it's not good in its characters, and the gameplay is outdated. It's pretty in some spots, and the character's voice work is good, but it absolutely does not deserve any of the accolades that it received this year. I am not homophobic, or transphobic, or sexist. I am just capable of complex thought and able to identify when something is pandering or just straight up bad. Valorant. How much longer are we going to keep letting Riot Games get away with this? Valorant is ugly, broken, and not fun to play unless you came from CSGO, which, why did you do that? CSGO is way better. I'm not going to lie, I was fucking hype for Valorant. I was hoping it was League of Legends meets Overwatch, but nope, it's Overwatch meets CSGO, and I'm not a fan of tactical shooters, okay? I'm bad at them, but I don't understand how these games are fun. In this game, you're able to buy multiple guns to kind of choose your playstyle, but the Operator Sniper Rifle is the best gun in the game, so why wouldn't you just buy it every time you can afford it? They raised the price of the gun in the patch, but nothing changed. People still buy it every game, and I hate it. Every time I expose a micropixel of my model, I'm killed in one hit. The game has a currency system, but if you're bad like me, you don't get as much currency, and unlike League where you can get currency through PvE methods, the only way to get currency in this game is to get good. You have to get kills, plant objectives, but if you're behind, it makes the game infinitely harder because you have a pistol while everyone else has assault rifles. How is that fun? How is that Celasta Crown of the Magister? It's pretty good. It's unfinished and buggy, but where it's completed, it isn't bad. It just needs some multiplayer, that would be really cool, and it needs to iron out some of its bugs. It could easily be a big boy, but in this current state, it's alright. Valkyria Chronicles is good in some spots, but horrible in most. For the sake of this video, I'll spare you the details. It's bad. Banner Saga Trilogy. I wish this game was just Oregon Trail. I'm not a fan of the slow tactics battle system. I love the characters. Their interactions and the events that happen at key points throughout the game is great. But the game is just alright. Nina Aquila Legal Eagle. This game is really bad, but this is another game where I had multiple interactions with the dev. The game isn't supposed to be taken seriously. The dev compared it to the anime Excel Saga, and if you've seen Excel Saga, then you know exactly what kind of game this is. It's kind of early access, and I know the dev plans to give it a fresh coat of paint over the coming year or two, so now that I have all that information, I think I might revisit it, but in its current state, the writing is bad, the art is jarring, it's very unique and creative for an RPG Maker game, I'll give it that, but it's so lazy in some spots that any kudos I give it is immediately revoked. I'm watching this one like a hawk, or should I say like an eagle. Miss Director is cute and very streamlined. It's a cute and very streamlined adventure game with horror elements. I am friends with the developer and they drew my artwork, so now it's time to be completely biased and tell you all how much I love this game, how everyone should go throw money at it, and that was a joke. Listen, for people who are new around here, I try to remain unbiased, and in all honesty, this game as a finished product is probably bad. I have spoken quite frequently with the dev about this game, and a lot of its issues are just tied to bugs and typos. That's it. The story is decent, the characters are great, the music is amazing. This game probably should have been labeled an early access title, because if it was an early access title, it would be in the good games. I'll be watching this game very closely as the developer continues to polish it for its Steam release. You're doing great, Becca. Don't give up. Blacksad. I'm only talking about this because I know Amy Chibi from my fucking stream wants to hear about it. So let me just say, this game is ass. It's broken, same as Cyberpunk, it's ugly, it's buggy, and honestly, I'm not a fan of anthropomorphic animals. They freak me out. And the fact that Detective Blacksad has human fingers while looking like a fucking cat is a big no-no for me. It's a big no-go. No. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. I almost forgot about Genshin Impact. It's okay, didn't play long enough for the gacha to get me, and I probably won't go back to it, but the 3 or so hours I gave the game, I had a good time. Lisa's best girl. I'm not talking about Final Fantasy Remake at all in this video, because I have to break that game down to smithereens to get people to understand my take on it. So expect that. These last 2 games are games I played literally last week, but I don't think recency bias will be an issue. Hades is a big boy. It's fun. It's simple. I love the characters. I love the art. The music smacks. The weapons. The polish. I plan to go further in depth on this game soon, but we really need to talk about how Supergiant Games has been dropping bangers like this for 10 years with no crazy scandals or crunch to my knowledge. These niggas just said, fuck it. Let's make some games. And just went and made games. They need their flowers because anybody looking to start an indie team probably should pay attention to them and follow their blueprint. Ghostrunner, on the other hand, is not a big boy at all. Ghostrunner is pretty, and dare I say it, fun sometimes, but man, most of the time it is so frustrating that I can't recommend it to anyone. Yeah, it's hard in some spots. Yeah, it has instant respawn, but there's no sense of victory when playing it. At least not for me. And once I clear a hard room, I'm normally like, about fucking time, instead of, yes, I did it! You know what I'm saying? Like, it's buggy, it's bland in its story, but it's pretty fun sometimes. I don't have a game of the year this year. Is that crazy? I don't know. I don't think that's that crazy. There's no game of the year this year. All of the games that I've played, none of them has stood out above the rest. If I had to pick one, probably Mage Academy, just because Mage Academy it's on the road to doing something great, something that I wish more RPG Maker games were doing. And I'm putting all of my stock into Mage Academy. So, Mage Academy devs, if you're watching this, you got it. Don't give up. I'm super excited. I know you have a lot of fans in your Discord who's super excited. Like, don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. I'm okay with Mage Academy being game of the year. Funny enough, my game of the year is an RPG Maker game, and the whole year that I've had this channel, RPG Maker has been like, I just been shitting on RPG Maker games. So it's funny how that works. A little irony in there. 2020 has been just a hell of a year, y'all. And in these trying times, I want to thank each and every one of you who have been rocking with me since the inception of my channel. I appreciate every single view I have ever received, every single like, dislike, subscription, hate comment. I love and appreciate every single one of you. 2021, the sky is the limit when it comes to my content. I hope I'm able to go even bigger and better with my videos as well as future endeavors. Big shout out to all who support me on the Twitch channel, and especially to the people who support me financially. You are the reason I'm able to do things like this, and I hope I'm able to continue to make you proud into the new year. Thank you so much if you made it to the end of this video. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I wish you all a happy holidays and the happiest of New Year's. Okay? Bye.